It was one of the most dramatic moments we've seen on this broadcast. As Byron Pitts was preparing to interview an Iraq War veteran, the 29-year-old former Marine died of cancer. His family says a military doctor had misdiagnosed Carmelo Rodriguez. Many of you were outraged to learn the military cannot be sued for malpractice. But now, as Byron tells us in this exclusive report, that may be changing.
You'll never be forgotten.
Today, the name Carmelo Rodriguez marks a modest grave in upstate New York, where his family still visits, still mourns. But soon, as early as tomorrow, that name will be introduced on the floor of the U.S. Congress.
The name of the bill, once again, is the Carmelo Rodriguez Military, Medical, Malpractice, and Injustice Act.
A bill based on a Marine story. CBS News first reported on the story of Marine Corps Sergeant Carmelo Rodriguez last January. While serving as a platoon leader in Iraq, his family says a military doctor there misdiagnosed the sergeant's skin cancer, calling it instead a wart, a condition first diagnosed in 1997. Here's a copy of Rodriguez's medical report obtained by CBS News. The doctor notes his skin as abnormal. In further details, he describes it as melanoma in the right buttocks. But doctors did not inform him or recommend any follow-up.
It's not fair.
8 years later, the melanoma worsened. By the time we met Sergeant Rodriguez, the once fit, gung-ho Marine had lost nearly 100 pounds. As we were preparing to interview him, he died. Due to what's known as the Fairies Doctrine, Rodriguez's family, his 8-year-old son, cannot sue the military for medical malpractice. The Fairies Doctrine is a 1950 Supreme Court ruling that forbids active duty military or their families from suing the federal government for malpractice. One argument, it would disrupt military order and discipline.
No Congress has ever changed it. They've had 50-some years of opportunity to change the Fairies Doctrine, and they've chosen not to do that, and I think for good reason.
I think that there's growing political will.
New York Congressman Maurice Henschel sponsored the bill, allowing active duty military to sue in cases of malpractice. And Henschel makes this charge against the U.S. military.
They were increasingly desperate to keep people, particularly people like Carmelo Rodriguez, who was a clear leader. They were forced to overlook this, to just look away from it.
Congressman, those are awfully damning allegations that the military overlooked this man's medical condition because needed bodies to fight the war in Iraq.
That's correct.
What will it mean for this family if on the floor of the U.S. Congress a bill is introduced with your brother's name attached to it?
I said to my sister that everyone is going to know my brother.
In one of his final emails, Carmelo Rodriguez wrote, the Marine Corps had been like family. His goal in telling his story? Continued service to the country and the Corps he loved, in duty and in death. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Wurtsboro, New York.